Hello and welcome back to the Podcast Cave here at Hi-Ho Studios. I'm joined today by Carl and Rich.
Hey.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
We are talking today about intros and outros for podcasts and why they're very important. I did some research and unfortunately for podcasters, overwhelmingly the biggest drop-off point for when a listener is going to bail on your podcast is at the beginning of your episode. So we've got about 60 to 90 seconds to get our listener to really feel like this is going to be an episode worth listening to. What can we do to make sure that happens?
Well, I think there's a few things we can do to make sure people stick with us throughout the episode. But one of the first ones we could talk about is sticking to what you've promised the audience and delivering on the promise of your premise, which is basically
Okay.
is the title and why I clicked on the video lining up with the content that's in the video.
Okay.
And people judge that from second one.
Okay.
So my pet peeve with what we call clickbait is fake trailers, movie trailers. Like I've waited my whole life to see Jurassic Park 16 and then some guy has made some fake trailer and
Yeah.
called it official. Then I click on it and I go, this is not
This is
official.
not it. Okay.
So that could be one reason people are jumping off. You've promised them Eiffel Tower and you've given them Big Ben or something.
Yeah, you've got to hook the listener. We've done an episode about thumbnails and how to get a good click-through rate. You don't want to spend all that effort on your thumbnail and then people get your video and they're immediately bored.
Mm.
It's half the battle is getting them to watch your video, and then you've got to keep them there. You've got you said 60 to 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's even shorter. At least for me, it is. I think an intro should probably be about 15 seconds, and then you move on.
Okay. So the importance is all in that intro.
Yeah.
What do we need? What is a good formula for a strong introduction?
Well, one of the things you can do, which we don't do in our podcast, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't, but
Yeah.
Tell us what it is.
we could do what we often do in television these days, which is a cold open.
Okay.
So you give them content up front before you actually intro.
Okay. Yes.
So that would be, so take your opening. We could have gone straight out. Did you know all your audience is going to drop off in the first 30 seconds of your
Right.
video? Hi, welcome to the cave.
Okay.
So you swap it around a little bit. You
Yes.
structure it with the hook. What we're talking about, the hook.
Okay.
In the first 5 seconds,
Right.
and then deliver on it.
And would that happen just after our intro where we have our illustration kind of moving open out of the scene and then you see
So
us come into frame
So actually, a cold opening would normally happen
before even that?
Before even that.
Okay.
So literally the first 3 seconds, and then you would go, stick with us. We're going to discuss it, and then
Okay.
you do your little graphic
And then you
open,
do the intro.
and then do your
Yeah, I suppose you can waste
Okay.
quite a lot of time with like your professional intro
Yes. Yes.
graphics and all of that. So
I've also experienced some podcast episodes where they spend a lot of time introducing the guest, but what feels to me to be a ridiculous amount of time introducing that guest. And I feel like we need some context to who that person is and their value, but actually a lot of us really understand who that person is to begin with, and we want to hear what they have to say. So I also sometimes find really lengthy introductions to guests to be off-putting.
I think any waffle, anything that's not meaty
Mm.
and content should be cut out,
Especially up front.
especially up front. When you get into in-depth conversation and the people are already watching, that's different. But especially up front, get into the content, get into what you need to say. Don't stretch it out for duration purposes.
Right.
Say what you need to say.
Okay. Talk to me about sort of brand elements, things that are going to help a person quickly identify who they're listening to.
yeah, I think you've got to be consistent with that. Again, in the thumbnail episode, we talked about keeping your thumbnails looking fairly consistent. So
Right.
you've got the same background, same color scheme, same kind of format. So when people see your video on a feed, they recognize it. Same with intros and outros. So if you've got a little jingle or a tune that you play, some kind of graphics, a catchphrase
Okay.
every episode.
Yes.
We're still
Audio hooks.
we're still working on ours.
We need one of those.
we've tried a few things on for size, but we'll see.
Haven't landed yet.
We'll see how they go.
Okay.
So it's just all part of building your brand identity. Trying to go back to what you were saying about when you mentioned sort of a hook right at the beginning. I've seen a lot of videos where they actually just take a snippet from the podcast. So like it's not an intro that the person said per se. They've just sort of put a little cut down
Yeah.
at the very front to hook you.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Another thing you can do.
that's kind of a traditional cold open, like we would do in television, which is
Okay.
taking highlights and
Yes.
pumping them in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I actually prefer it when you do a dedicated, bespoke
I think we should try it.
band one.
Yeah, I think, we should prep ahead for those. And
Yes.
every episode should
Yeah.
have some kind of hook like that.
Yeah.
So that's, you've got to hook them in. So start with something intriguing, some kind of stat that
Mm.
makes people
Okay,
wanna watch.
jingle. How do we go about making a jingle?
So there's lots of options for jingles. You can do library jingles as well. The chances of people reusing the same jingles is very minimum,
Okay.
but there is that. And then
Yeah.
you could always talk to your local composer
Okay.
to come up with something for you.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised how valuable that is.
Yes.
And a lot of brands use what we call sonic logos as well.
Mhm. Netflix.
Which, Netflix, fantastic
Time.
example. BMW was one of the pioneers in that.
Okay.
All those kind of things help remind people where they are and
Yes.
what they're watching.
Yes.
Then other things you can do is have a very unique looking set,
Mm.
backdrops,
Right.
lighting, effects.
Yes.
Where I've seen this now on lots of podcasts where the setting starts looking so generic.
Yes.
It could be anybody's set.
Mm.
And I think that's the strength of Hi-Ho as well, is our clients have their own sets.
The ability to make it actually represent that specific podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just don't think people put enough thought into their surroundings and how powerful that visual,
Yes.
even though it feels very subconscious,
Mm.
can be.
Yeah.
It's cool to have your logo on the back.
Yeah.
It's cool to have your own vibe.
Okay. Anything else that we need to think about in terms of introductions?
Giving a throw forward to what we are going to be discussing,
Okay.
because that also acts as a secondary hook to explain to people why they should hang out and
Okay.
why they should continue watching. If something special is going to happen, so say we were going to dial in a guest,
Mm.
I'd probably intro that and say, hey, and just hang out. And
Yes.
just now, after we've spoken about X for a little bit, we're going to be talking to B, who's an absolute mental genius and blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And
stick
so throw forward.
stick around.
Mm.
We're going to be talking about some free software you can use to help
So
you.
you're building anticipation and ensuring that they stick around for the full episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing we should probably do
Yeah,
more
I'm making
of.
a lot of notes here. Okay, those are awesome. Let's talk about outros. I feel like at the end of an episode, we've spoken about, all the things that we want to share with our audience. And it feels very easy to just wrap it up quite quickly and be done. Move on.
Yeah. And I think that's a good idea,
Okay.
because if you have an elongated outro,
Yes.
you're going to have people drop off your video
Okay.
and it's going to affect your stats.
Okay.
So I like to end videos really quick,
Okay.
so that people don't really click away.
Okay.
So you can let the video end.
Yes.
But it depends on your podcast as well and what information you have to share.
Mm.
Is
Is that the point where you explain the additional value that a viewer could get from that episode? Is that where we talk about downloads that might be available or other online resources that you've supplied for that episode? Or should that be sitting in the middle?
I suppose it depends what you're talking about.
Okay.
And if it's a big reveal, like if you
Yes.
stayed on to the end, here's the coupon code to get
Okay.
20% discount.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
It's not a bad idea.
that sometimes we end quite abruptly,
Yes.
and maybe don't say all the things we should. I agree it shouldn't be long, but you could say one or two sentences. I think it's got to have
Yes.
some kind of like
Yeah.
maybe a summary. Maybe that's unnecessary actually, but a call to action I think is important.
Okay.
So like we want people to subscribe. We want people
Yes.
to check out our website or maybe check out a guest's website or
comment.
something like that.
Mm.
Maybe you could give a sneak peek of what's coming next.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's genius. That ensures they come back to listen to the next episode.
Yeah, and if you're running serial kind of content,
Yeah.
throw forward to your next episode or leave a
Mm.
cliffhanger, is what
Okay.
we would normally call something unresolved.
Yes.
So if you want to hear the result of this whole discussion, go to the next video
Okay.
if you want to see the full thing. So
Yes.
I think a lot of TikTokers and those guys are very good at that.
Yeah.
Where they will do all the actual boring stuff, and then the part you really want to see is actually in the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, that's irritating.
If you, it could be irritating, but it's a good tactic.
Yeah.
If you keep doing it, you could irritate your audience, and they could then go to that you didn't deliver on the promise.
Well, it's
Right.
irritating if you're expecting to see the final outcome. You watch 10 minutes and then the reveal is the next video, but that's not made clear.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. Well, that is one of two or something like
I
that.
think for a lot of what we're talking about, though, this is predominantly brand content. It's the delivery of useful and valuable content. It's less about some sort of social media stunt or, you
Yeah.
know. So I feel like for most of our listeners, that wouldn't really apply.
Yeah.
They're not going to be doing those kinds of tactics to their listeners. Well, at least, I mean, I hope not.
Well,
Yeah.
for a brand, it might be a good idea to say, well, if you watch the next episode, you could win something. Or you
Okay.
could, so you
Yes.
can incentivize
Yes.
viewership if that's your objective and you want to get the stats up or whatever your objective for your video is. There's ways to use the outro to
Yes.
get viewers to the next episode.
Mm.
We don't necessarily need to do that because each of our episodes are so standalone
Yes.
that
Mm.
this episode might be not for our core audience. The next episode might be for a different audience.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't.
So
really
I
matter.
guess that all just comes back to how tasteful you can manage to make that little extra hook. If there's going to be another one and you want to get them onto the next episode, do it in a way that doesn't feel annoying.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think another good use of an outro is to be a bit more personable.
Okay.
So if you are going to do an outro and you want to show some vulnerability or something like that to get people to get to know you a little bit better, that's not a bad place to do it either.
Mm.
And then literally say, hey guys, if you want to know more about me, I did make a other video to an about me or a
Yes.
whatever. Go check that out
Yes.
instead of bombarding every video with who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's other tactical things you can do in your outros bespokely for your channel and for your podcast that you need. And look at the data, see what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even seen, people say things in the outro like comment this word
Yes.
to show that you've watched to the end or something. And then I look at the
Okay.
comments and lots of people have commented.
Yes.
So that's
That's a very clever tactic to get some engagement on your video.
what gets engagement and
Yes.
like helps you with your stats. I
Yeah,
guess.
getting people right to the end.
The other thing just to do in an outro is just to acknowledge and thank the people that you've had on the show.
It's just the basics, really, hey?
A lot.
People.
Yeah. Do that.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
going to be watching your outro.
Yes.
and then when we better nail this one. And then fade out, sort of end it gracefully, like
Yes.
not too abruptly, like
Yes.
okay, bye, fade to black. Or
Yeah.
cut to black quickly.
And remember, YouTube is also putting up thumbnails and your cars.
Yes.
and-
Oh, you also see people going,
Yes.
here's a video you might like.
Yes.
And they point into
Yeah.
space and
Yes.
YouTube
So those
puts
are your
a video.
end cards.
Yeah.
I think that I hadn't considered the fact that if your outro is too long, people will drop off, especially if they've watched a lot of your episodes. They know how you end off, and if it's too long for them, because to be honest, who has that kind of time?
I think with a sort of very standard outro
Yes.
that like someone always does. Okay, now the meat is done. Now he's going to waffle for a minute and
Yes.
a half.
So keep
I'm
it
gonna-
short,
Yeah.
sweet, not abrupt, but get people to be happy to switch off and move on to the next.
Yeah. And keep it unique, I think, from episode to episode.
Yeah.
Because if you start doing the good night and good luck kind of
Mm.
speech at the
Mm.
end, like Rich
Mm.
says, your audience gets so cued to, oh, that's the end.
Yeah. That's the
that's
end.
it. He's going to do
Yes.
He's going to jump off
He's going to do
Yes.
his
10
thing.
seconds before you end.
You've actually finished, yeah.
That kind of hurts your stats.
And then finish off again with branding at the end.
That's really up to what you're doing.
Okay.
And if you're using cards
Yes.
or what you are doing.
Right.
I would say that's depends on the video.
Okay.
But I think, in a nutshell, your intro brings them in to watch your video, and your outro brings them back.
Okay. When done well, you allow them to listen right through, and
then
the
come back another
end
time.
comes back another time.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Thanks, guys. That was really useful
bye.
info. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully you've learned one or two things that are going to be useful for your own podcast.
Click.
We'd love to hear in the comments what you thought of today's episode and if there's anything else you'd add to our suggestions. Cheers.